Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. It is Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2014, and a perfect time to talk about robotics, to talk about quantum computing, transhumanism, and how this is all morphing into the Borg. This world created by massive big tech companies like Google, Amazon, Apple, and others that are working on the integration of man with machine, which will ultimately achieve a singularity, according to the most brilliant minds on the planet today, by an estimated 2035. We are not far off, folks. By the year 2035, the most brilliant minds on the planet, those that work in academia, places like MIT, and those that are in the field and the private side of developing these machines say that within your lifetime, more than likely, we will achieve a singularity with man and machine that will open up the realm of possibility and also man's potential downfall, depending on how you look at it. Depending on how you view transhumanism and the concept of immortality and uploading your brain into a virtual computer so you can live in a hologram. People like Ray Kurzweil that I'll talk about in a moment who take hundreds of pills a day and also are fed intravenously on a weekly basis nutrients into their body so that they can increase their chances of living to when we reach singularity. There's an excellent article in Time magazine. I encourage you to read it. That was released this February that says it promises to solve some of humanity's most complex problems. It's backed by Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, NASA, and the CIA. Each one costs $10 million and operates at 459 degrees below zero. And nobody knows how it actually works. Very provocative. They call it the infinity machine, quantum computing. So what is quantum computing? It sounds fancy. Well, again, I encourage you to read this article, and I'll read you a tidbit here. It says, for years, astronomers have believed that the coldest place in the universe is a massive gas cloud 5,000 light years from Earth called the Boomerang Nebula, where the temperature hovers at around negative 458 degrees Fahrenheit, just a whisker above absolute zero. But as it turns out, the scientists have been off by about 5,000 light years. The coldest place in the universe is actually in a small city directly east of Vancouver called Burnaby. Burnaby is the headquarters of a computer firm called D-Wave. Its flagship product, the D-Wave 2, which hosts this infinity machine, which hosts this quantum computer, of which there are 5 in existence, is a black box 10 feet high. And inside is a cylindrical cooling apparatus containing a niobium computer chip that's been chilled to negative 459 degrees, almost 2 degrees colder than the Boomerang Nebula. So what is quantum computing? How does it differ from standard computing today? Well, it's all cracked in the code, so to speak. Now, traditional computing works with binary code, zeros and ones, ones and zeros, and it moves in a straight line. It's a level plane or a level playing field. You can see here very basic, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1. That's what binary code and that's what modern day computing looks like today. But when we step into the realm of quantum mechanics, something in a subject that Einstein even had trouble grappling with at times, saying, I can't understand, and I'm paraphrasing, that science would play God or vice versa, that they would leave this kind of thing up to chance. But quantum computing is totally, it's a breakthrough beyond anything we could ever imagine. And instead of operating on a single level playing field of simple binary code, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, for example, think of a computer, a quant system and a quant computer that can operate multiple lines of code on different planes in competing alternate universes. They call this superposition. So instead of calculating something in a straight line, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, imagine being able to calculate things with a multiplier and run multiple calculations at the same time on different playing fields and competing alternate universes at once. Think about that for a minute. It opens up so many possibilities. For example, airline travel or logistics or the stock market. You can see why Wall Street's interested in this with quant trading. Think about it as a normal computer. Let's say they wanted to measure the height of a mountain range, would have to walk the entire mountain range and calculate each point in time and then get back to the computer and tell it what was the highest point, what was the lowest point. But with it, quantum computing, it could send out 1,000, 1,000,000 people at once and calculate the entire mountain all at once and bring it back to the computer. It opens up so many possibilities regarding logistics, regarding nanotechnology, regarding the stock market, regarding problem solving, all kinds of logistical problems that we currently have that will be able to be realized through quantum computing itself. These parallel universes operating in time, solving extremely complex problems, which, by the way, according to Moore's law, computer doubling every so many matter of years, people will reach singularity. The human consciousness, machines, will reach the AI, the artificial intelligence of human beings by 2035. And beyond that point, within our lifetime, will actually be far more complex, far more intelligence, and far surpass the intelligence of man within our lifetime. They call it the singularity. And this is what people like Ray Kurzweil and others, these transhumanists and futurists, are counting on. Absolutely amazing, absolutely fascinating. Again, I want you to understand that gravity, folks. By 2035, machines will reach a singularity with human beings, with the human consciousness, and artificial intelligence will surpass that of humans. This is groundbreaking, but it also opens up a can of worms, and it also could potentially open up our own hell, which is something that I think that we should warn others about, that it's not just necessarily going to open up a utopia, a grand utopia for humanity. It could actually open up our own living hell here on Earth. Absolutely fascinating. Here's a picture of Ray Kurzweil, recently hired by Google. He's a well-known transhumanist, futurist. Again, he's fed intravenously on a weekly basis with nutrients. He takes some 150 pills a day. Really, truly believes in immortality, that he will live forever, because we are literally on the cutting edge of this right now. Google says nanobots in our bloodstream, brains on the cloud, and immortality by the year 2035. Imagine having millions of nanobots in your brain that constantly remind you to log into Google Plus and feed you ads. That seems to be the vision of Google engineering director Ray Kurzweil, who tells the Wall Street Journal that by 2030s, we will have millions, billions of blood cell-sized computers in our bloodstream, keeping us healthy, augmenting our immune system, also going into the brain and putting our neocortex onto the cloud. And this is real, folks. Yeah, this is happening right now. This isn't even opinion. I have a Forbes article here, Russian mogul to Forbes billionaires. Limitless lifespans can be yours. A Russian media mogul by the name of Dmitry Itskov, 31 years old, plans to upload his brain into a supercomputer and live through a hologram eternally, forever, declaring his right to immortality. Here's a picture of the gentleman, a young guy, Russian tycoon, will be uploading his brain to achieve this transhumanist future where he can rule the planet, to rule this interplanetary relationship, man and machine. These are what these transhumanists and these are what these people are pushing. It brings up all kinds of philosophical, emotional, and moral questions. I mean, at what point we're still dying. You're still dying, even if you're becoming a machine and you're uploading your consciousness, which is just binary code. These people don't believe in a soul. They have more of an atheistic perspective on things. But at what point do we no longer become human? We actually become the machine. We morph into the machine. And it brings up just a host of questions, of problems, of the interrelationships between robots and human beings, and all that entails. Will the machines take over us? Once they reach singularity and achieve their intellectual superiority and they're able to problem solve, will they not just make us their slaves? Will they not just eradicate us completely at that point, where man has opened up the can of worms, where we've actually assumed our own extinction? We've created our own extinction by empowering the machines, creating our Frankenstein, so to speak. These are the questions that we have to ask morally, we have to ask philosophically, and that we need to bring to the forefront as this technology is emerging. And again, this is very real and happening now. The question being, are we opening ourselves up to our own hell? Now, Ray Kurzweil and others will say that we're opening ourselves up to a utopia on Earth. But we really have no way of knowing that, for sure. Some very provocative photos here of a cyborg android woman robot. I thought was just an interesting picture. Of course, here we have the movie I, Robot with famed actor Will Smith. More provocative images where, again, the machines become alive and are integrated within our environment and our own humanity. The possibility of that, what that means for human beings and robot. Of course, Google Glass, and now this is becoming cool, and this is how they sell it to you. This is how the new age people sell it to you. It's all cool now. It's all a fashion statement. It's like you're on the catwalk, Google Glass. Sergey Brin and the founders of Google, for example, pushing this transhumanism, humanistic agenda to wear Google Glass at all times. Not only as a business model, so they can make billions and billions of dollars and feed you advertisements and collect AdSense revenue and all these kinds of things, but also now making it cool, making the implementation of an RFID chip or a Google nanobot, which I've reported on extensively before, all of these patents that they've filed and accumulated and are accumulating now is being perceived as cool. I mean, check out these frames that you can get now. You can get them introducing the titanium collection. Isn't this beautiful, beautiful women wearing and merging with machine, merging with Google Glass, merging with the technology itself? I feel like I'm looking at an advertisement for Nike right now. Become a glass explorer. Become the machine, looking for bold, creative individuals who want to help shape the future of glass. This is where it's all headed, folks. A merger of man with machine, achieving the singularity, machines achieving that singularity by 2035. Nanobots not only would be integrated Google nanobots, it could act as your key store, so it would unlock your passwords to your, let's say, your Apple iPhone or your Google Plus accounts or your Google accounts, or help open up your door or start your car, adjust those kinds of things, monitor internally your body for cancer. They call this bionic, so biologically, if you're off or you're running high blood pressure, it could impregnate chemicals into your bloodstream immediately to cure you from disease, again, to achieve this immortality. Nanobots seeking and destroying cancer cells, according to the International Business Times. Of course, major pharmaceutical companies ranging from Monsanto to Bristol Myers Squibb, Eli Lilly, etc., all seeking to achieve this immortality through nanotechnology, nanobots, and this integration of man with machine. I've done several amazing pieces on this. Shocking Google nanobot RFID chips to live inside you. Nanotechnology 2013, Google nanobots to Borg. We all become the Borg. We all become a part of the AI, the artificial reality. We become Google. Google is the Borg. The Borg is government. Google is government today. Google's new sugar sensing contact lenses not only will check in with diabetics and tell them and deliver when they need insulin through the nanobots that live inside you, but you can also have X-ray vision. You can see like a hawk with these new contact lenses. Google, of course, has a patent on all of this. You can find this at discoverynews.com. We also have artificial body parts now. They call this, again, bionics. Artificial eyes will give the blind eyes to see. Again, merging with machine. But when do we become the machine and we're no longer human? We no longer have our humanity. Are we not creating a living Matrix-style hell that we can never get out of, where we live in perpetuity and maybe become a slave of the machines itself? We have cochlear implants. I know people with these. It's amazing technology where people that can't hear have implanted devices in their cochlea that has to be surgically implanted. Then there's a receptor that collects sound. You wear a little device for power on your belt or in your pocket. It allows you to hear. Again, we have sight. We have hearing. We have the artificial heart. Now, of course, in bionics today, everything's made of materials like plastics and things that they're making these with. But with the future of bionics and technology, they will be able to harvest this biologically from your own cells. You're seeing this with your children now, where you're able to store their stem cells when they're born so that you can have the blood cells readily available, the DNA, the code, the matrix, the algorithm, this quantum computing world operating in parallel universes in different times, time and space. Again, things Einstein even questioned himself, one of the most brilliant minds on the planet, will be moving away from these plastic-sized type materials into a world where we're able to create our own biological kidneys, lungs, heart, eyes, and we'll move away from the plastics, etc. Again, sight, hearing, organ transplants. Of course, we have the man-made machines, which have now opened up the world, autonomous machines, soon to be in the future, that will decide when and how and where to kill by themselves through their artificial intelligence. There no longer will be the drone pilots in Nevada or New Mexico operating the aircraft. The aircraft itself, the AI that has achieved the singularity, that is a higher level in learning than humans, that we are supposed to just trust that we created the Frankenstein, will make the decision who to kill in Yemen, Iraq, Afghanistan, or maybe even here in the United States itself. We also have these micro machines, insect-sized spy drone robots that have been revealed and unveiled, and that I've spoken of extensively, that are monitoring you through the Big Brother system that is the NSA today and the wiretapping of our cell phones, etc. Imagine a swarm of these entering enemy territory, or perhaps just monitoring you here at home in Washington, D.C., or inside your home, because somebody wants to know what you're doing, wants to spy on you, wants to do some surveillance. Incredible technology, minute instruments of war. Absolutely incredible, and opens up an entire different can of worms. Of course, Google also recently purchasing Boston Dynamics, which will make it the largest defense contractor on the planet to the United States government. These machines, this machine in particular, gas-powered Wildcat robot, and other killer machines to be used on the battlefield, no longer will we have human beings battling it out in war, but there will be machines fighting each other. Again, this will be Terminator 2. This will be T2. This will be some of our worst nightmares coming to fruition, coming to reality, these autonomous thinking machines making kill, life and death decisions entirely on their own. Again, will they turn against us? Will they decide to eradicate us completely? Will we become the equivalent of the pet, the dog or the cat as it is to us because we've created the Frankenstein? Again, something Ray Kurzweil and all these people fail to ask, fail to think about as we integrate ourselves into the Matrix. We integrate ourselves into this fictitious fake reality where we can soon live through robots and AI like we already do today, through our cell phones and our laptops and our computers and these video games that we play, Candy Crush and whatever the latest craze is, Farmville. In these MMORPG games that people actually trade currencies and build lives in, The Sims. We all live in this artificial, unique individual paradigm today as it is already. But nobody asks these fundamental questions of what it means to be alive, what it means, what our humanity means. Again, are we creating our own hell as we are hooked up to these machines? Are we creating our own hell on earth? Could we live into perpetuity in our own hell, subservient to the technology and the AI that we've created, this all-knowing being, this all-knowing Borg? Is this the reality of where we are headed, or are we opening ourselves up? Is it possible? And of course, anything is possible. Is it possible that we're opening ourselves up to the ultimate utopia, where machines free us and free human beings to experience everything that they were meant to be? To achieve a sense of immortality, to achieve a sense of true transhumanism, to achieve a better future, and to be able to solve complex problems, to rid the world of cancer and ailments and pollution and and create world peace. Could that be what we're on the cusp of? Again, two diametrically opposed ideas. Or is the reality maybe it's somewhere in the middle between hell and heaven? Not necessarily black or white, but gray. These are amazing questions, folks. When do we become the machine? When do we lose our humanity? You know, is this the new thinking man? This picture here? Instead of a fist on his chin thinking, is this the thinking man? Once we achieve singularity through quantum mechanics and quantum computing and this new technology? When do they install the RFID chip? I've talked about this extensively. Here is a YouTube video showing a gentleman taking the chip, taking it right into his right hand so that he can open his car door, his home. It can act as his key fob. Again, they'll be injecting these nanobots, thousands of which can fit on a strand of human hair, of which Google has the patent and technology now. This is where it's all headed. What you're watching right now is actually old school. This is old school technology compared to the nanotechnology that they have right now. Will you take the chip? Is this the mark of the beast, as the Christian faith has warned? Or is this just the advancement of man, the advancement of technology, the advancement of this transhumanistic world, this new utopia that, according to Ray Kurzweil and others, will open up human beings, will open up the world, and will just open up the planet in general into a higher learning, a higher state of being, a higher humanity? Or are we ending our humanity? Are we ending our own lives? Are we becoming the machine? Are we becoming the Borg? Are we losing ourselves to our own creation, to the Frankenstein that could potentially be quantum computing, the singularity, the merger of man versus machine, and ultimately machine's takeover of humanity, which will be far superior in intellect, problem solving, and maybe even reason in the future, taking our jobs. We see this in manufacturing, with car manufacturing, General Motors, all across the planet. We see this leading in countries like Japan, which hold the pinnacle of robotics. Are we just not creating, again, our own hell? I'm Christopher Green. I want to hear from you. Click the link below to support our sponsor. Get this video out. Make it viral.